that you know how to add animations to your presentations, we now need to make sure that the objects you'll be animating are the right format and are high enough quality to produce a high definition video. Admittedly, this lecture is going to be a little bit more boring than the others, but you'll have to take my word for it when I say that an improper file format or a poor quality image is the best way to make a shabby video. So grab yourself a cup of coffee and buckle up for some book learning.
The first thing you want to understand is the difference between raster images and vector images. We'll start with raster. Raster images are made of thousands of little dots, called pixels. Being comprised of zillions of little dots allows raster images to hold rich detail, because each little dot can be a different color. Photographs are examples of raster images. Wonderful for rendering rich, full-color images, raster images have some drawbacks when used in videos. First, these images are typically huge files. Bigger files mean slower editing. Second, these images don't resize very well. When you resize a raster image, the pixels just get bigger, which makes the image appear grainy, or what's called pixelated. Vector images, on the other hand, typically have a cartoon-like appearance. Vector images are not rendered on a pixel-by-pixel basis like raster images. For example, if we were to create a square as a raster image, it would be filled by thousands of little pixel dots. If we were to create a square as a vector image, the same square would only be comprised of dots, or vector points, in each of the corners. Thus, your computer will essentially be playing connect the dots and filling in what's in between with a solid color, which means you can resize the image without losing much detail, making them great for videos.
However, just because an image looks like a cartoon, or looks vectorized, doesn't mean it's saved with a vector format. Therefore, when we make videos, we want to use vector images whenever possible, and be sure to use the correct file format. The file format is indicated by what's called a file name extension, or the bit of text after a file name. File formats include JPEGs, PNGs, GIFs, and the like.
JPEG is probably the most common file format, as it's the default extension for digital cameras. However, JPEGs save out as rectangles, which is a problem if you have an image that isn't rectangular. For example, you see when I place this JPEG in PowerPoint, it adds a white background. As you probably guessed, JPEGs are rasterized. PNG, pronounced PNG files, are also rasterized and are the most used lossless image compression format on the internet. In simpler terms, even though they're rasterized, PNG files are typically sufficient, even good, for video making. And PNG files save out with transparent backgrounds. But, especially when we make videos in PowerPoint, the best file format I've found are called Windows Metafiles, or WMF. Windows Metafiles are created by Microsoft and have been the native vector format for Microsoft Office since the 90s.
Thus, whenever possible, Windows Metafiles are the way to go. But depending on what kind of graphics software you're using will determine what you're capable of creating. If you can't create WMF files, then PNG files exported at over 300 ppi will do the trick. In the next video, we'll head back into PowerPoint with our Windows Metafiles and start timing and testing our animations.